Chicago, like most big cities, has had its fair share of violence and crime. And in most of these cases, somebody saw something. Somebody saw a car go driving down an alley. Somebody saw a suspicious person. Somebody heard gunshots. Somebody saw some part of the crime. And this is the information we need to help us solve these cases. So anything you know, anything you saw, anything you heard, no matter how big or how small, we're really urging you, the community, to come forward. With that information, we can help solve these cases and put these criminals behind bars where they belong.
And without the community involvement, the police department's only as strong as the citizens get involved.
What we're looking for is that magic phone call for somebody to call in and say, hey, this is what I saw, this is whom I saw, and this is the information that I need to give you.
On August 8, 1996, the grandson of 83-year-old Wilkie McGuire went to her Hobart home to check on her. Her phone appeared to be off the hook, and the family was worried. When he arrived, he found his grandmother in her basement, beaten and strangled to death. Here's the story.
Oh, she was a good mother. We were on welfare growing up, and we moved around a lot. Didn't have a father. Eventually, I had a stepfather. It was my brother and I, and we lived in really bad neighborhoods, and so it was kind of rough. I know she did the best she could, being a single parent. But, you know, we couldn't vacation, we never went anywhere. We were lucky that we had food to eat. I mean, we spent a couple of Thanksgivings underneath a tree eating bologna sandwiches. So, it was rough.
I was in the Navy, and we were at the shipyard at Hunters Point, which is in San Francisco. And that's where I met her. And her mother was a person that had gone through a lot in her life. You could tell that. She'd had a hard time. And at the time I met her, she was already had her second husband, George. And then eventually we decided to leave California and came back here.
And then I got married out there, and then I moved back here to Indiana. And she stayed on out there until my stepdad died. And then we tried to talk her into coming back here, and she wanted to stay out there as long as she could, but then she got evicted out of the house she was renting. We ended up moving her back here, and then she stayed with us for a while, and then she wanted to, you know, find a rental property to rent. That was one of the reasons she got evicted out of the house she was renting in San Jose, California, because she had, oh my God, I don't know, 20, 30 animals. She took in strays, cats and dogs. They eventually, you know, took all the animals away from her. And the house was such, you know, in horrible shape that, you know, she was evicted from the landlord out of the house. So when she came back here, we knew she wanted, you know, at least one dog and one cat, so we got her that.
She moved in with us and stayed with us for a while till we were able to find her a place to rent, and got her moved into that place. And she never had much family, and what I really remember is at first she was kind of distanced from the grandchildren and everything, but I kind of saw in her face as time went by she was warming up to them quite a bit and enjoying their company. We got a phone call because my son had gone over to check on her. Because of the condition of the house, she had a habit of knocking the phone off the hook all the time, and you'd call there, and I was always busy, and she did that a lot. So my oldest son went over to check on her, to get her to put the phone back on the hook so that we could call her and talk to her.
The home on North Cavender Street, it's a modest neighborhood, working class neighborhood, single family homes. It's a large neighborhood located, like I said, in the north central part of our city, just to the west of downtown. It's a fairly quiet neighborhood. Grandson went to the house to check on the well-being of his grandmother Wilkie and to see if there was a problem with the phone. Knocked on the front door, didn't receive an answer, so he checked the door, found that it was unlocked, walked in, checked the main level of the house, couldn't find her, and then went down into the basement, and upon going down, reaching the bottom of the basement stairs, that's when he located Wilkie on the floor.
Have you been in an accident? Have you been the victim of discrimination or had your rights violated? Have you been injured? If so, the lawyers at Hale Law would love to talk to you. We offer a free consultation. Call me, Andy Hale, 312-870-6926. 312-870-6926. I look forward to talking with you about your case.
On August 8th, 1996, officers were dispatched to North Cavendish Street at approximately 5:50 p.m. It's a subdivision that's in our north central part of the city. When they arrived on scene, they discovered a 83-year-old female, Wilkie McGuire, dead at the scene in the basement of the home. Wilkie lived in the home by herself. Her grandson had discovered her. He reported to officers that the family had been trying to get in contact with Wilkie throughout the day. However, upon calling, they received a busy signal. He went over to check on her well-being and to see if there was a problem with the phone. He tried knocking at the door, was unable to reach his grandmother Wilkie. He discovered that the front door was open, unlocked. He entered the home. Upon going down into the basement, at the bottom of the stairs, he found Wilkie lying on the floor, deceased. At that time, he called police. She was, security-minded. There's no indication that she would allow strangers or people she didn't know into her home. Initial investigation, there was no signs of any forced entry to the home. Nothing was reported as missing or taken from the home. The coroner's office did an autopsy and discovered that the victim was killed by a severe beating to the head and also suffered strangulation. There was no signs of any sexual assault. Initial investigators canvassed the neighborhood and spoke with family. Wilkie was last seen on August 6th at approximately 7:30 p.m. by a neighbor who saw her outside her home. And a friend of the victim spoke with her on August 5th in the late afternoon, early evening by telephone.
They called us on the phone and we went over to the house. And we had to sit outside in front of the car while the police and everyone was inside checking things out. Then they finally told us we could go into the house, and we spent a few days trying to get everything out of the house and arrange and get rid of stuff and try and find papers and things like pictures we wanted to keep. Well, we found a lot of things that were kind of interesting about her history and her family, and some pictures of family members that we hadn't seen before, and letters and things like that she had written to her son Stephen. And we took all that stuff and set it aside and took it to our house and went over all that, of course. But it was a difficult time. For a long while, we thought this could very well have been just an accident, that she could have fallen and things could have fallen on her, but the police said no, that she'd obviously been beaten. So.
My wife is diabetic now because of that. Kids didn't have a good chance to tell their grandmother. They need to man up if they know something and tell the police about it or let you folks know, so that whoever did this can pay the price for what they did, and so that we finally know that someone has been held accountable.
Horrible thing. I mean, mean, she was doing okay in that house, you know, and I was gonna take her to Walmart that week, and first they said it was an accident. So I figured, you know, maybe she fell down the stairs or something. But then they came up with this other, you know, story, so I don't know. But naturally it was upsetting for all of us. We think about her every day, and, you know, we miss her, and we wish we would have had more time with her back here, because she really didn't know the grandkids that well. At least it kind of brings some peace to know exactly what happened and, you know, maybe why, or I just hope that, you know, maybe this show will help. You know, maybe somebody will know something, or somebody has said something to somebody and somebody will speak up. Other than that, you know, we'll just never know. It's just such a mystery.
She didn't appear to have any enemies. At this time, I don't have a motive for why she was killed. At the time of the initial investigation, the detectives followed up several leads. However, nothing panned out at the time. Right now, we don't have any suspects or persons of interest, and are hoping that, you know, somebody can come forward with some information that could lead us towards the person responsible for the death of Wilkie McGuire. If anyone has any information on this case that could help us locate the person responsible for killing Wilkie McGuire, you can contact myself, Detective Nicholas Wardrip at the Hobart Police Department, 219-942-4485, or contact Crime Stoppers and remain anonymous.
Who could beat and strangle an 83-year-old defenseless woman? The worst part is, this monster may think he has gotten away with this brutal crime. Our job is to make sure he doesn't. If you have any information that could help Hobart detectives solve this case, contact Crime Stoppers today. You don't have to give your name, and you will be eligible for a cash reward.
The cases featured on tonight's episode remain unsolved, and we need your help. If you have any information on tonight's episode or any of the cases featured on the show, please give the detectives a call. We need our communities to come together so we can take back our streets and make our neighborhoods safe again.